Hey everyone, and welcome to this Game Replay Shoutcast, coming to you with the finals of our last qualifying tournament in the EU. So this is everyone's last chance to decide who actually goes through to our invitation for $2,000. Coming up, we've got a relatively new team, Dirty Minds DM, against the merger of MSI and ILX, which I think we're just calling MSI here. And well, we're hoping it's an interesting game. I haven't actually seen DM play, but we've got some pretty well-known players there, and obviously MSI, very well known and currently at the top of the game. And with me once again, I'm joined by Rakura of the fantastic casual stream Minor League Hon. How are you doing?
Great. Always a pleasure to be doing this stuff with you guys and getting, kind of spreading out the love in the community and whatnot. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting seeing DM play. Haven't heard of them either, but they made it to the finals. PSR looks good, so if judging by that, we should be entertained at least a little bit. MSI, obviously one of those teams that is very well known, has always come out on top, is probably one of my favorite teams in general, but I try not to be biased in any form or fashion. So, one of the interesting bans going over while we're waiting for picks to happen, Andro and Witchslayer being banned, along with Slither, actually. So very interesting lineups that we're probably going to see now, as we do see Voodoo Jester and Plaguerider come onto the board for the Hellborn team.
Well, they're definitely interesting bans, but at the same time they make quite a lot of sense. I mean, Kronos is moving steadily up the banning tiers simply because he's so hard to shut down and he carries so well. And Engineer and Nymphora, same thing, they're both probably overpowered. But the other three, Slither, Andromeda and Witchslayer, they're all very strong early game roamers and gankers, so it strikes me that if you're going for a carry heavy lineup, or maybe just something with a weak lane, or something you don't want to be heavily ganked against, it would probably work for you to ban those heroes, try and restrict the opposing side's opportunities for offensive play. And also, they're very strong tri-lane heroes, so if you don't want to face a tri-lane, then I guess that's pretty much the perfect opportunity for you. But aside from that, I'm not pretty sure. And then, of course, we've got the picks: Glacius, Forsaken Archer, and Valkyrie for Dirty Minds, and Voodoo Jester, Pandemonium, Tundra, and Plaguerider for MSI. So they're all not terribly well, it's pretty unconventional actually, but MSI using a lot of the heroes we've seen used throughout the tournament. No-Tail playing Pandemonium again, Tundra picked up again, Pharaoh being ghosted by Fresh Pro, so there's a lot of heroes that we only see MSI using, or that MSI have popularised, so this might be another strat that MSI have been keeping in the wings, as it were, to surprise us all with. And a much more conventional ganking orientated strat coming out from DM: Magnus, Forsaken Archer, Valkyrie, Glacius, and apparently Soulstealer last pick. So I think they're definitely both ganking lineups, but MSI is a lot more unconventional, much harder to predict because not everyone's seen it before, and I'll definitely be interested in seeing how it pans out.
Yeah, a lot of crowd control, especially if Pharaoh gets picked up here for this Hellborn team. I mean, you have Tundra's ult to lock him down. You have Panda's stun and Flick, for that matter. You have the Acid Cocktail from Voodoo Jester, and then you throw that ult out. On top of that, people just scatter pretty much, but then you can crowd control them back with Plaguerider's ult, and then the Pharaoh Mummy Wall and Hellfire. So a lot of crowd control on this Hellborn team. Equally as so to some degree on the Legion team between Forsaken Archer, Glacius, Mag, and Valkyrie, but it's more single targets, whereas you have a little more AoE type setup for the Hellborn. So really going to be interesting to see this. I'm really excited for this match, and we'll see what Brown finally decides to go. He's pretty much clicking on all 68 heroes, or in this case probably, there we go, Bubbles is the final pick. So again, more crowd control, and it looks like Trixie's going to be playing Bubbles, so going all out, we're going to get to see some interesting Bubbles play most likely, and here we go. So waiting for everybody to ready up, and we'll get things started.
Well, I mean, I'll take a close look at the teams, actually try and predict the lanes. I would expect we're either going to see that Soulstealer solo, Magnus Forsaken Archer lane, or they've got a lot of options on DM, but essentially it boils down to they can either sit Soulstealer with the Glacius or solo him. They can fit Magnus with either Valkyrie or Forsaken Archer, and then send Glacius into fit. But either way, they get decently strong offensive lanes, but fairly conventional ones. MSI are also pretty strong, but they're a lot harder to predict. I mean, we're probably
Yeah, and a lot of roamers, for sure.
Yeah, we'll probably see, definitely, I think we can agree that we'll probably see Nova trying to play aggressively for MSI here, and probably Smack playing that Magnus, or maybe Valkyrie. We have seen. Oh, there's a lot of options. Certainly, I'm gonna
call lane for Legion right now. Is Forsaken Archer, Magnus going top, Soulstealer and Glacius going bottom, and Valkyrie taking mid. I've seen the Glacius Soulstealer combo be so effective. Then again, you could see Glacius and Mag with Forsaken Archer and Soul Stealer. But
No.
at the same time, I wouldn't really recommend that because you're having to split your farm at that point. So I'm going to go with my original strat on that one.
Well, you see, all my issues with that are that we're then going to see the Valkyrie solo, which doesn't really work. I guess we might see the Forsaken Archer solo, Valkyrie Magnus, and then Glacier Soul Stealer. That's probably...
That could work as well.
Yeah,
I mean, really, to be honest, the way I'm looking at it, Forsaken Archer and Valkyrie are pretty interchangeable at this point.
Definitely.
In terms of things. For the Hellborn side, that's a little bit tougher to call.
Well, either Voodoo Jester or Plague Rider sitting Pandemonium. We'll probably see Tundra solo and then a double ranged lane to try and shut down whoever the Legion end up sending bottom as the other one. I mean, I don't think they'll try to tri-lane with those heroes. I guess the Legion might, but they probably... I suppose they could do that, actually, if they ran, say, Glacius, Magnus, and Soul Stealer, building a tri-lane around Soul Stealer, as we saw at ESWC, but haven't really seen here. And then send off Weesing and Era playing those two carries into the harder solos. Problem with that is that you've seen the carry... Well, see, Valkyrie does deal fairly well with the 1v2 solo, so might be seeing that. Actually going to be seeing that, but with Forsaken Archer, so 3 heroes going top. I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense to me. Forsaken Archer can add a lot to that tri-lane with her crippling volley and her skeletons. I suppose the issue with it really is that Soul Stealer is very fragile. He can have a lot of problems with the... essentially... Oh no, it was sending... Okay, that makes perfect sense then. We're going to send Valkyrie to the bottom lane. Okay, we screwed it up completely, but the Legion side do have fairly decent lanes. You've DC'd from the game, by the way.
Yeah, I'm reconnecting right now.
Fresh Pro using his incredible tactic of spamming the piercing shard sound by cancelling the animation. And not much else really. Got the help on side trying to take a thingy jigamy tri-lane up top as well, so in defiance of what I said and just to make me look extra stupid, they are running a tri-lane. I mean, I'm not sure about this Plague Rider in it though. He doesn't...
It's like taking a test, Johnny. You just need to go with your first answer until you can definitely say it's wrong, you know? I mean...
Absolutely, but I mean, I think, to be honest, this Plague Rider top, I'm not too fond of it. I mean, he's not bad for controlling the tri-lane with Extinguish, but realistically, I just don't like him when you could have someone like Andromeda or Glacius that you can't because they're picked or banned, so I guess maybe he's a second pick hero for a tri-lane. He's not too good, but he's not too bad even, but apart from that, not too sure. And since we've got a nice early pause, we can take a look at everyone's items. Voodoo Jester, very unconventional, just a small amount of regen. He presumably bought and upgraded the Courier with that then, which is... Seen it done, but not too fond of it. Pandemonium, very standard. Got his Iron Buckler to just help him soak up lots of damage, fairly standard stats. MSI Trixie, very standard. Ducky, very standard. Fresh Pro, fairly standard. He's got a shield and Ridge the Blight, so he's just going for a straight bottle rush. Magnus, pretty standard with some Water Revelation to try and counter ward, which... Not sure if they were successful there, because I can't move the camera there right now. Era, playing that Valkyrie, fairly standard. Glacius, fairly standard, but very low on items, so maybe he bought and upgraded the Courier as well, not sure about that. And finally, Jerax, very standard, so... Pretty standard loadouts, a couple of heroes really taking more hits than is necessary. Normally you split a Courier and a ward between two support heroes. Not seeing that done here, so... Glacius.
Actually, Hellborn haven't even picked up ward. I mean, they probably didn't have time to put him down, but... or no, one is in the lane, so choosing to put a ward in the top lane, and you don't normally see that very often, unless a tower's down. Any real reason why they might be doing that?
Absolutely, it's a fairly standard opening if you're playing a tri-lane and you think you're going to get a solo, or you hope you're going to get a solo. Just give you some vision in that lane so that you can spot them if they go there and then catch them out of position and get a bloodlust on them. However, it's not...
Well, I mean, as opposed to putting it in the forest right here next to this, above this orange creep spawn, that's usually where we see it, or you know, even in the lane behind them, to give a little bit more vision there.
Well, you can see yourself that they counter all of that, so it may be that Hellborn just taking the second best spot in the hopes that, well, essentially the leading side.
I didn't see obviously I didn't see the ruin, or I'm sorry, the warrior get killed, but we do see Valkyrie coming in onto Panda right now. Glacius getting some auto attacks as well.
Well, I think, to be honest, as a lane, you have to favour the Hellborn here. Firstly, because they've got two ranged heroes, which obviously increase your harassment potential. But secondly, because Magnus has got really, really low armour. He's really vulnerable to that auto attack harassment. So it's quite hard, especially against this double ranged lane, to shield him from that. And I think we could reasonably expect to see them forced backwards. What am I talking about? Forsaken Archer's ranged, Sorry, ignore me. I obviously have complete and utter blindness to contend with. Meanwhile, we've got Fresh Pro taking Tundra up against that Soul Stealer, which is a pretty decent lane for him. Soul Stealer's very last hit dependent, so if Fresh Pro can keep a lid on him, he's going to do quite well there. Oh, Fresh Pro's let him get 8 souls straight.
Flick on a Forsaken Archer top, Acid Cocktail coming out. Magma's coming in with a stun to counteract, but Forsaken Archer in a lot of trouble there. One more auto attack, there we go. Bloodlust going down from Panda onto Forsaken Archer. Voodoo Jester almost didn't get away either, though. But now, Cannonball onto Glacius. He's in a lot of trouble. Plague Rider trying to follow up. He's going to go down easily. One more auto attack, he's going to try to get the creeps, and he does. He dies to neutral creeps, so great play by Glacius.
Well, it's definitely a good play of him to deny himself, but really you have to bear in mind the fact they did effectively just get double killed up top, and really,
It's true.
I think there's a lot of testament to how good Panda is in this play. I mean, he's only recently been discovered. I think this tournament's only the second time I've really seen him used in consistently, but really actually having seen what he can do, he is fantastic. Firstly, because Flick's such a great tool for mispositioning people, and secondly, because he has so much killing potential. I think especially in a tri lane where positioning's really, really important to you. That is a big, big thing.
Yeah, what do you think about this Bubbles Valkyrie going on bottom as we do see Mag kind of join back up top?
I think it's a mismatch. Both sides were expecting that hero to be sent off on a hopeless solo, just a 1v3, or 1v2 as it were. And Bubbles is really well suited to survive that with Shell Serve and take cover. Valkyrie's not bad at surviving it either with her leap. And really, I don't think either team intended for them to meet that. I think they were just intending for them to play really defensively and try and turtle 1v2. I especially think this is the case for Valkyrie though, because I don't think... This is not a conventional tri-lane that we'll be seeing being played here. This isn't... Certainly it's not one I anticipated. I don't think Dirty Minds would have anticipated it either, so...
Actually, I've seen more tri-lanes in the past, hour and a half that we've casted than I have probably in months. So, definitely one of those unique things for me. Usually, because we do see the typical 2-2 or 2-1 and 2 lanes. So,
well, I think if I can turn this into a game theory lecture, the reason is because actually tri-lanes give you such a better range of outcomes. Because if I run a tri-lane and they don't, I crush a lane horribly. They probably won't do the same to me, and I have an advantage because I have a really fond carry and 2 heroes who've been utterly shat on. So, therefore, I have to play with the assumption that the enemy are going to tri-lane me. If I assume that then, if I just try and run dual lanes against it, I may hamper.
Actually, mid Tundra goes down by Soul Stealer. Demon Hands came out to finish him off.
Oh, this is rubbish. I haven't finished my theory crafting yet.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, it's not reasonable for these people to be playing in the game while I'm trying to give them a lecture.
I know, right?
It's just unacceptable. Lack of decorum, it won't do. Simply won't do. Anyway, taking a look at this bottom lane, if I can distract myself momentarily, which believe me I can, because it's boring as hell. Valkyrie actually not doing as well as I'd have expected against this Bubbles. Bubbles does not have a good attack animation, and, well, he does have better base damage, which I didn't know or expect. But at any rate, his attack animation is at best lackluster and at worst singularly poor. Valkyrie is...
Aztec Cocktail coming out on top of Forsaken Archer Fleet coming out as well. Magma's coming in on Voodoo Jester. Crippling Volley coming down to try to help alleviate that. Takes out Voodoo Jester, but Panda will take out Forsaken Archer. Magma's now coming in onto Plague Rider, and Glacius is going to be forced to back. Interesting note, Voodoo Jester actually has Mojo instead of Cursed Ground. How do you feel about that?
It's normally a babysitting build when you're having to play defensively and you just want to get that Mojo when you're having to try and keep that
Tundra
carry
goes down
alive.
mid again. So, yeah, wow. Tundra getting kind of rolled here.
I think the big mistake was that they either didn't expect the Soul Stealer mid or didn't play around it properly, because taking a hatchet, not a hatchet, a shield against Soul Stealer mid is just a plain bad move. He doesn't hit that harp with his auto attack harassment, and you want that hatchet to stay on top of those last hits and really keep him out of lane. So I think Fresh Pro didn't anticipate that or didn't react to it properly, and that's going to be one of the bigger causes that he's lost this lane. And really, I think they need to worry about the Soul Stealer, because he is... Oh, actually in the top lane now. DM going around the side, they're not going to catch anyone out, but really, it's a huge error, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And they either need to gank the Soul Stealer or do something else about it, because as anyone who's even remotely following the Honk community is probably aware by now, unchecked Soul Stealer is just generally bad.
Yeah, Demon Hands coming out. He does not have enough mana to finish it off. Bottle Charge coming out from Tundra. There go the pets to help slow down. Bubble's getting something, looks like armor bracelet, so going to form that ring of the teacher most likely. But yeah, Valkyrie's sitting about half mana and half